There, with the Eight of Pentacles being the overall, very simply, we could be saying that this is a relationship where a lot of hard work is going to have to be put into this. But I get the feeling that some of you are focused on something very specific, a certain detail that you may have missed involving this person. Now, for some of you, you just may be putting your focus and attention in something else. Because I feel like because of what has been kept hidden and what is, kind of like being revealed to you here, the Ten of Wands to me kind of indicates that maybe this relationship is going to come to an end where it's going to be their burden to bear, if that makes sense. You coming into this with the Four of Cups, again, it's not good enough. You can say whatever it is you want to say, but for Taurus, it's like, this isn't fulfilling. This isn't what I wanted. And I really do think that, this person, by their own actions, is letting this situation kind of like fall apart. And I hate saying that with the Page of Wands, but a lot of times it can show that somebody is just telling you what you want to hear. And you know this clearly. They may be talking about like wanting to take a new path with the relationship. They, maybe like trying to get you revved up. But I think that this is somebody that you're, looking at where you could be like losing interest in them. But I feel that it's not good enough. You need to work harder at this. And with the Empress, I almost feel like you're understanding what your worth is. And I think that a lot of you, may be very compassionate, very understanding, very giving. But I don't think that you're going to continue to be so towards this person if they can't follow through or they can't show that they're willing to put forth an effort with you. And with the Tower on their side, I feel like that is their burden to bear. They let things fall apart. They didn't follow through here, or they're just talking and not really doing anything. And for you, actions speak louder than words, right? But I really do feel like with the Empress being there, this is you being in a place where you understand your own value. And it's interesting, especially for Taurus rising, considering that you've got Venus going over Jupiter in the 9th house right now for you. What do you value? If you could have anything you want, does it hold value for you? Are your beliefs changing when it comes to what you value, especially in terms of a relationship or someone in particular? But like I said, with that Tower, they are responsible for this falling apart, and it is their burden to bear. I do think that with the Three of Pentacles after this, that they want to try to work on this, but you are coming from a place where you realize that it's going to take a lot more effort that they weren't willing to show before. So why does that mean anything is going to change? And I hate putting it that way, but that's what it feels like. But I also think that there is a very specific detail about what is going on with this person that's going to come to light in a way where it's like, this is going to have to come to an end at some point. And I don't think that you're really ready to move forward on anything with them. With the King of Wands, I don't think that this is you. I think that this is the way that you're looking at this person. And I almost kind of get the feeling that Taurus is looking at the person that they're dealing with going, learned a lesson, didn't you? With the King of Wands, male, female, fire sign, possibly. But we're talking about somebody who, the King of Wands doesn't really like to commit. They're not easily as distracted as like the Knight of Wands, but the thing is that they don't pay attention to the details that matter, especially to you, because that's where the Queen of Wands comes in. She's the one that pays attention to all the details where he doesn't. But you would think that this is somebody who is in better control of where their desire leads them. But there is clearly very much an attraction for this person with the King of Wands being there. But the thing is you're not being moved by that with the Knight of Pentacles. They're not going to sway you or woo you. It's not happening. But the Angel of the Night, this being the extra card in the deck, this is talking about coming out of a dark place. But I think that you were kept in the dark about something. But now it's being revealed to you. Now we're getting some understanding here. But the details is what's going to matter to you. And that can either make or break the situation. But again, if the relationship ends, it's their burden to bear. They're the ones that has the responsibility here to make this work. They can't say, I want to work with you, because from your point of view, it's you need to do the work here. I didn't do this, you did. That's what I feel like is coming off of Taurus. And then you have the Ten of Pentacles coming out. And the thing is I think that they feel bad. I do. I think that they feel bad that they could not give you the security, grounding, and stability that you wanted to have in this relationship. I think that that's what this is coming down to, because they had a choice to make. They could have chose a different course of action, but they didn't. And I think that for you, you're realizing that maybe, they can't be depended on. Maybe they feel like, their career was more important than you, which can be the case with the King of Pentacles. But usually I look at this as, is somebody being dependable? Can you depend on them? Are they, giving what's necessary to make a relationship work? Or are they more concerned with themselves? Which can be the case. But this is like you looking at this person and going, you had a choice. You chose a course of action that led to the collapse of everything. I can't depend on you. I can't depend on you to make a choice here, and I'm not really ready to progress forward here with the Knight of Pentacles. You're not going to be pushed. Now, after that, with the Four of Pentacles, this isn't something that you can let go of. And I think that this person is realizing that you're becoming more, independent and secure here with yourself. With the Queen of Pentacles, it's funny how you're looking at them this way, they're looking at you that way, right? There is a connection between the two of you for sure. But the thing is it's just not hitting. It's not hitting yet. And I don't think that you're wanting to kind of like just maintain things. I think that you're holding on to how you feel, and you're not going to change. You're going to continue to do things the same way, because you're talking about methodical progression here with the Knight of Pentacles, but we're slowly moving. We're not being quick to act toward anything, but dependability is a big question here. Big question with this person. But I think that they're starting to see that you're becoming, more secure on your own. But that's because something has come to light, a very important detail, I think, about why things fell apart in the first place. But again, we're talking about, being grounded, security and stability, long-lasting with a relationship. And with the Five of Cups, they will disappoint you because they're not going to be able to give it to you. But that is their fault, because they could have chose something different. They could have chose to act in a different way. But their actions led to things collapsing. And I think it changed your point of view and how you look at, your own value and worth. And you're not going to give anything here. I think that you're kind of at the point where it's like, no. And it's not even about equal give and take anymore. That's way past that at this point. They could have, done something completely different here, but because of probably selfish, means here, they chose to take a different course of action. And there's still that disappointment here, being let down. And then the Page of Wands. This is interesting to me because both of these are very similar, but they're different in what it is you're trying to overcome. This is overcoming feelings of inadequacy. This is overcoming any doubts that you may have had. Now, playfulness, let's start there. This is about not taking things so seriously, needing to be able to have fun. But with the Queen of Pentacles, and I do feel like that's you, whether you're male or female, I think that you've been in a place for a really long time where you feel like nobody is going to be able to give you any kind of satisfaction. You're just kind of focused on yourself right now, possibly your career. But you can make yourself happy. You don't really need somebody else to do that for you. But the Nine of Pentacles, this is either going to be about you or somebody else, but somebody is still very much attached to a prior relationship here. But it's almost like the Nine of Pentacles has a level of obsession, and it's somebody who is willing to take whatever they can get, but they're still very attached to a person, but somebody else is very clearly saying, well, we're not really in a relationship, or I don't want to call it that. So now you may have somebody here who is still very like obsessed with you, obsessed with the relationship, attached to a past relationship that you have had, but you've been left by this person in a place where you have to do things on your own and satisfy yourself on your own. Now, like I said, with the Seven of Wands and the Five of Swords, there are, some things that you're going to have to overcome. Feelings of not being good enough, feelings of having doubts when it comes to being involved with a person. You may literally be in like a relationship with somebody where it's not really a relationship. You just kind of like do whatever. But in terms of the day-to-day, there is something that they cannot give you that you can't already give yourself. So that's why it's not like a traditional relationship almost. But there are doubts. But that goes right over to the Lovers here, where we're talking about somebody who can't make a choice here between what they know is good for them and the temptation. But with the Page of Wands, this is about looking past appearances. So somebody is wanting you to look past something. And that may be another person that's involved, or somebody that, they need to get rid of, which can be the case. But that is where the inadequacy is coming in, because the thing is if you really wanted me, there wouldn't be an issue. But they don't want to let you go, though. Oh, yeah, and we're bitter about it. This is something that you can't look past with this person. And I think that, kind of going back to playfulness, maybe we need to just get rid of this. And you need to go back to a place where you get to have fun with somebody and not be in a place where you're questioning yourself. Because I think they're pushing you away. They're pushing you to this point where it's like, I don't have time to play with you. I have other things that I need to focus on. And I don't have time to be playing these games where I have to wonder about what's going on with you, having these doubts, feeling like I'm not good enough. I don't have time for that. And that's because there may still be, another issue involved with the person that you're dealing with, but they can't let you go. And that's the problem. And they want you to look past it, but you're not going to. Because with that Knight of Pentacles, yeah, we're bitter about it. But, it's their fault if the relationship sours. But you knew this, though, coming into this situation. It's like, it's funny because you consider yourself single, but you're still messing around with somebody. And they're attached in a way where they can't let you go, but they can't make a choice, though, either. And that's a problem for you, and you know it. And I think that you need to, be in a place where you get to have fun with, the people that you meet in relationships and things like that, instead of dealing with somebody who can't figure out what the fuck they want. Now, when you look at let your friends help you, I mean, clearly here they're helping this woman with her wedding, right? But I don't think that that's it here. I think that your friends are going to be your like support system, so to speak. So this would be like the better version of the Three of Cups, where we don't have other people involved, but your friends are going to give you a clear idea of what you have been dealing with your relationship. Think about it, right? We usually talk to our friends about what's going on with the person that we're involved with. So they see it from a very different perspective, although they're only getting one side of the story. If they're your friends, they're going to know your personality, and they may be able to give you some advice that will be, helpful here and how to move forward. Because somebody is wanting to fix or heal a situation here in a very different way with the Three of Cups. The World, we're talking about a relationship that makes you feel complete, but there may be a question of trust with the Ace of Swords. And now we're getting back to a place where you may be starting over with this relationship where we're trusting each other again. The Three of Cups is about healing the broken heart. So this, for me, looks like you and your partner are getting back together in a way where you're learning to trust each other again, but something is needing to be healed. But with the Six of Wands, right, I don't think it's game playing. Somebody is putting themselves out there to try to do this. And I think that, with the King of Cups, male, female, another water sign, doesn't matter. But this is about somebody who loves you. They love you. And there's the romance that's there, the sensitivity, the emotional support. But with the Four of Pentacles, you're going to have to try harder. That's great and all that you feel that way, but you need to show it. That's what I feel like here. So I think that there may be a little bit of a question about, putting yourself out there to, heal the situation, because at one point the relationship was very whole, very complete. But why did trust have to become an issue? And this is where they're going to have to try a little bit harder. They can't just, so easily give up. With the Queen of Cups, there is a part of you that needs to put yourself out there in an emotional way. But I think that, again, that may be hard for you to do, but I also think that there is a part of you that very much loves this person too. We want to see a new beginning, and that Ace of Cups is sitting right there. But we need to learn to trust again, and we have to heal things with the Three of Cups. And it's not a bad one. It's better than looking at the Nine of Swords. That's for fucking sure. But with the Seven of Swords, you're not connecting. You're not connecting physically. You're not connecting mentally. There isn't a whole lot of conversation going on. And I always look at this as a truth that needs to be spoken between the two of you. And I think until that kind of comes out, any attempt that's made is not going to be enough for you to kind of clear up what may be going on in your own mind in terms of, why we're having to trust again and have to try to work on this new beginning, despite the fact that there is a lot of love for this person. And, kind of going back to your friends may be able to help you in how to move forward with this. But what bothers me is that this almost looks like there is, this love, this emotional connection. But when it comes down to it, you just can't connect anymore. And that may be the problem that a lot of you are going through right now. And that really depends though. But the thing is I'm not looking at like laziness. I'm just looking at somebody who is trying, but someone else is not responsive. But that's because something needs to be cleared up, I think. But clearly there's a lot of love. Romance to be had. But I think that there may be a part of you that is maybe a little bit hesitant about putting yourself out there emotionally and being responsive or open to this person.